Hi, I'm Tiffany from New Perspective Fitness, and we're focusing on a core strengthening routine as part of our Master Mover series. It's important to note that this workout may not be suitable for clients with osteoporosis of the spine. In this session, we're going to engage your midsection through flexion, extension, lateral flexion, and rotation. Please make sure that you have medical clearance to perform these movements safely. We're going to begin on a mat with the Pilates ball, so I want you to grab your equipment and let's get moving. We're beginning with cat-cow, and I wanted to acknowledge if wrist extension is challenging for you, you might want to consider rolling up the edge of your mat or even using a rolled up towel. And what this is going to do is if you place your palms on this towel or the rolled up mat, it's going to reduce the angle on wrist extension. It'll make this exercise easier for some of my clients that have wrist limitations. And then as you get stronger and more flexible, you can just phase this out. For cat and cow, we are going to place our Pilates ball in between our knees. Now you may also use a yoga block here. The use of the ball is to stabilize your lumbar spine as we work on mobilizing our thoracic spine and neck. To set yourself up, your shoulders are going to be over your wrists and your hips are over your knees. And our stance is a little bit narrow here, and that's due to the ball squeezed in between our inner thighs. Exhale as you drop your head and round your back, moving into cat pose. And then drop the belly, arch through the back, and you're either looking at the wall in front of you, or if you have more flexibility through the neck, look skyward. Continue at your own pace. Exhale as you round up into cat, looking at your chest and belly. Inhale as you drop the belly down and look at the wall in front of you or skyward and arch the back. Cat and cow is a beautiful warm-up for the spine and the abdominals, for all of the work that we're going to be doing in this upcoming workout. Regular practice of this move is going to strengthen and stabilize your core muscles. We're keeping a soft bend in our elbows, and it's very important that you're keeping all of this move in your spine. Our arms and our legs are still. This gentle motion is increasing blood flow and really preparing our muscles. Now we're transitioning into thread the needle. We're keeping the ball in between our knees. Please take your right arm, and if you'd like a yoga block for this move, let me show you how you would utilize the yoga block. You're going to use the yoga block right underneath your face, and with your right arm moving into thread the needle, you're going to bend your left elbow, and your head could either lay on the yoga block or the mat, and then you're going to press through your left arm and open up into a chest opener. All right, so again, you could use that yoga block or not. I want you to exhale as you go into thread the needle. You're rotating. Press through your left hand and extend through the arm as you move into derotation and open up the chest. Exhale as you move into thread the needle, bending your left elbow, and then straighten your left arm as you open up that chest. All throughout this exercise, we are just hugging this Pilates ball. And this ensures that we're keeping our lumbar spine stable, that's our low back. And our mobility is deriving from our thoracic spine and our neck, the cervical vertebrae. Return your hands to neutral. And now let's do the other side. You will exhale as you take your left arm underneath the right, bending your right elbow. Press through your right hand and arm and open up into the chest opener. So with this exercise, we're really focusing on waking up this midsection. You exhale as you move and to thread the needle, bending your right elbow, and then press up through the right arm as you open up. Last repetition. Now let's return to neutral, and please stretch your wrists with me. So right now we're in wrist extension, and I want you to flip your left palm so that you're now in wrist flexion. And we're just applying very, very gentle pressure here. Maybe about 10% of my weight is in wrist flexion for my left wrist. And now let's return to wrist extension, and we will stretch the right wrist into flexion. Nice, release. Then we can go ahead and take a seat, and I just want you to roll through those wrists. Just get some blood flow there. And now you can change the direction. We're moving on, and it's time for options. So if your wrists are pretty fatigued, I invite you to lie down on your back, and your move will be to bridge as you squeeze the ball. So as we bridge up, I want you to think of 3 points of contact: your heel, your pinky toe, and your big toe. Think of that as a tripod. And I want you to press up, squeeze the ball in the top position. That's hard to do, and you're squeezing your butt muscle, your glute maximus, and then lower down. So this is option 1, and we can return to this at any time. Option 2 is reverse tabletop. When we perform reverse tabletop today, we're going to continue to look forward. So looking forward is going to be better for preventing dizziness or lightheadedness. If you were to look up to the ceiling, it can alter the fluid dynamics, and that impacts our inner ear for our vestibular system. It can also momentarily impact your blood pressure. So just for safety, we're going to continue to look at the wall in front of us. Classically, our fingertips are forward, but if you would like to have your fingertips more outward, that's fine. So choose your position. We are going to press our arms down and squeeze the ball as we lift our hips up in line with our knees. And we're looking forward at the wall in front of us, and then lower back down. So you're either with me in reverse tabletop, or you're performing that bridge. Everyone exhale, lift the hips up, squeeze the ball, and then lower down with control. When you are performing this reverse tabletop, we're opening up our chest and shoulders, and it's also waking up that posterior chain. You're feeling work in your glute maximus and your hamstrings. And this is crucial for hip extension and stability. As we lift through the chest, we're enhancing overall posture, and it can even improve your respiratory capacity. We're exhaling as we lift, and everybody squeeze that ball nice and strong. Squeeze your glutes. Adding this ball squeeze helps to intensify this exercise because it helps activate the inner thigh and the pelvic floor muscles, and it enhances core engagement and balance. 2 more repetitions. Great job. We're moving on to low plank. Let's quickly go over some common alignment mistakes. So in low plank, you may have your arms parallel to one another, just like train tracks, or you may clasp your hands. Low plank, you may choose to be on your knees or on your toes. What are some common mistakes we may see? First, it's with the hips. So when you're in low plank, ideally we should be in this nice straight line. You should be able to imagine that you could put a stick on your back and it would touch your back of the head in between the shoulder blades and your tailbone. Now, some people might actually have their hips too high. It's like they're in a pike. This is harder on the shoulders, but easier on the core. Another mistake is hips sagging. As far as the shoulders go, we want to keep the shoulders down and depressed, and some people may shrug their shoulders, and that is very hard because you're overactivating your upper trapezius. And then finally, if you've had an injury in either shoulder or arm, please remember we want to evenly distribute our weight. If you've had an injury, sometimes you might favor that side and put more work in your stronger arm. But over time, that can cause strain, and that's not what we want to do today when we're planking. We're going to put 60 seconds on the clock, and I would like you to practice. So if you can't make that full 60 seconds, maybe do your 20 and then take a break and then get back in, because we're going to be here for a full minute. If you would like to engage your inner thighs and your pelvic floor, I invite you to place your ball between your knees, but this is optional. All right, so we're going to put 60 seconds on the clock. Friendly reminder, if you're new to this, I'm expecting a 20 to 30 second hold. Anything more is absolute bonus and you're in like star status, okay? So 60 seconds on the clock, ready and begin. If you have a ball in between your knees, we're squeezing that ball. Make sure you're long through your head and neck. And continue to breathe. We're focusing so hard here that you don't want to forget to breathe. "30 seconds. Remember, at any time, you may gently drop down onto your knees and be performing a kneeling plank. "15 seconds to go. Stop. Excellent job. At this time, we're going to move on to opposite arm and knee sweeps. So for my clients with wrist limitations, I would like you to stay down on the mat. We're not going to elevate onto the yoga blocks, and you might want to grab your towel to help with that wrist extension. Otherwise, if you're ready for a challenge, please grab 2 yoga blocks, and we're placing 1 yoga block underneath our right hand and the other yoga block underneath our left knee. When you're in this position, we now have another option. Would you like to keep your left toes down, or would you like them elevated? Both are acceptable options and will be a great challenge to our core. Once you've decided where you would like your toes, you're going to extend your right leg back, and our left arm is out with palm down. We will exhale as we sweep in, bending at our wrist and our knee, and then slowly lengthen your arms back out. Toes are pointed, unless you're choosing to have your left toes down. Again, exhale as you drive in, sweep inward, and then inhale as we lengthen the arms out. Continue at your own pace. As we do this move, our body tries to cheat, and it doesn't like to fully lengthen the arm, and especially your back leg. But do your best to try to get full extension through your leg. Three more repetitions. Nice work. Now let's change our blocks if you're utilizing the blocks today. Place your left hand on the yoga block and your right knee. Again, your right toes may be down, or for an ultimate challenge, all toes pointed. Your right palm is facing down, left leg extended back. Exhale as you sweep, bend at the wrist, bend at the knee. Inhale, lengthen the arms out. So with this move, we are working core stability. And that means that our core is absolutely stable as our limbs act like our weights. This is a phenomenal exercise for helping improve bone density in our shoulder and our wrist, and we're really working the glute muscle, the glute medius of the leg that's on top of the yoga block. It does a lot to stabilize our hips and pelvis. One more repetition. Great work. All right, we're going to put the yoga blocks away, and please grab your Pilates ball, and we're moving into seated ab flexion and extension. Place the ball behind the small of your back, and as you do this exercise, I want you to imagine that you have just a little bit of a apple or an orange right underneath your chin. Arms are going to be crossed and start a little bit in extension of the spine, and then exhale as you crunch forward into this partial curl up, and then again go into slide extension back. But just make sure you don't extend too much through your neck because we don't want to strain the neck. Remember, your head weighs about 10 to 11 pounds, so we don't want to go too hard on that neck of ours. As you do this movement, try to keep your knees hip distance apart. Some people have a tendency to let their knees knock in, and I want to target our outer thighs here. So we're keeping train track legs. Partial curl-ups are beneficial because they safely strengthen the core muscles without putting excessive strain on our back, especially when we're using this ball to help support us. So this is working our most superficial six-pack abs, called the rectus abdominis. And when we strengthen this muscle, it does really help to evenly distribute weight, and it reduces spinal load. And this helps alleviate back discomfort and just enhances our overall back health. 2 more repetitions here. Good. For our final exercise of our first series, we are going to lie down on our back, and this is called turtle. Please bring your feet up to tabletop, and I would like your feet flexed. That means toes to the ceiling. Now your head is down, and we're placing the ball against our left thigh, and our right hand is pressing into the ball. I want you to create an isometric contraction between your right hand and your left thigh. We're pressing into the ball. Now your left hand and your right leg will stretch away from center and then return to the start position. Exhale as you extend your limbs, hover, that's important, and then return. Now your back may be in what we call neutral, which is just its natural alignment, or if you're noticing that your low back is imprinted, that is fine. That's a posterior pelvic tilt, and I'm okay with either neutral or the imprinted spine for this exercise. Again, anytime we're moving our limbs away from the body and our core is stable, this is called a core stability move. Make sure you're fully extending through your leg, especially. 2 more repetitions. Keep applying that isometric tension into the ball and into the thigh. All right, put your feet down and let's switch sides. So we're going to place the ball between our left hand and our right thigh. Bring your feet up to what we call tabletop, that 90-degree angle. Feet are in the flex position, toes to the ceiling. And press into the ball, press your thigh into the ball and your hand into the ball. Let's begin. Exhale as you take your right arm and your left leg away, and then return. Now, if you are noticing low back pain, I need you to imprint your spine. That means you're gonna tuck the knees in and your spine is gonna be imprinted. I promise you that will properly fire off your abdominal muscles, and it does take pressure off of the low back. So being in a neutral position is absolutely more advanced than being imprinted. We're going to do 4 more. Now, when you are in imprint, you might notice that it's harder to fully extend your leg. And if you can't fully extend the leg because it would take you out of imprint, that's okay. So that's the one exception. And stop. Excellent job. So great job moving through that first series with me. I'd like to offer you a water break, and we'll be back for our next series of strength core work. Welcome back. We're going to begin our next exercise. It's going to be a bridge with a ball pass. Now, with some of my clients, it was very hard for them to pass this size ball underneath their hips. And so another option is to use a small release ball just as a substitute for the big ball. So what is the move? You're going to lie down on your back, and we're starting with the ball up in the air. Now think of your feet as a tripod. So your heel, your big toe, and your little toe. I want all of those spots to feel connection with the ground. The ball is up in the air, and you will exhale as you pass the ball underneath your hips. And then when the ball goes back up to the ceiling, lower your hips down. And I want you to continue passing the ball in the same direction right now. So you're exhaling, lifting, passing the ball, and then the hips lower when the ball is back up to the ceiling. So with this move, we're targeting our glute maximus. That is our butt muscle. We're feeling a little bit of work in the hamstrings. And we're working our deep core stabilizers. So think transversus abdominis. Now switch the ball. So you're going to pass the ball in the opposite direction and then lower the hips down. Exhaling on the lifting phase. Inhale when the ball returns back up to the ceiling. Remember those 3 points of contact on your foot. 2 more repetitions. Nice. Let's place the ball down, and we are moving on to kneeling side plank. For kneeling side plank, I want you to come down onto your right arm, and we are going to have our hand up to the ceiling, and our knees are a little bit forward here. We are not in a straight line. Bringing your knees a little bit forward is certainly going to help with feeling more stable. We will exhale and lift up through our bottom hip, and we're working through our shoulder, and then lower down with control. Exhale to lift up, and lower down slow and controlled. And as you can tell, when we go up, I'm holding and lower. Good. So this is a wonderful exercise to work shoulder stability. You're also feeling work in your chest as well as your tricep. That's the back part of the upper arm. And then we're working our obliques with this move. And then we're working our deep transverse abdominis and even our back muscles, just helping keep that spine in alignment. We're going to do 3 more. Excellent. So now let's move over to our left side. Same setup. We're going to have our feet and our knees stacked. Our knees are slightly forward. Our shoulder is stacked over our elbow, arm up to the ceiling, and we lift nice and proud through the chest, and then slowly lower back down. We always want to move through our lifting phases with control and ease, and especially when you lower back down. That's that eccentric lowering phase. Stay nice and proud through your chest, long through the neck. And as you can feel, we are working our lateral flexors, the side of the neck that is closest to the ceiling. 2 more repetitions. Excellent. At this time, we're going to move on to Aquaman. Aquaman is a great exercise to work our posterior chain and our back. I would like you to take a towel, and we're going to roll up this towel and place it on the ground. You are going to have your toes pointed and your arms are out in front of you. This is why the towel is so important. For Aquaman, we are going to lift our right palm and our left thigh and foot off of the ground. So our arm lifts and our leg lifts, and then lower back down, and then please alternate sides. So that'll be the left arm and the right thigh and foot. Continue alternating. We are exhaling on the lifting phase. Inhale to lower and switch sides. As you can feel, this move is targeting our low back, that's our rector spinae, and we're also really feeling a lot of work through our glute maximus, that's our butt muscle. Continue to keep your toes pointed and do your best to lift your entire thigh off of the mat. Let's perform one more each side. And stop. Great job. For our next exercise, we're moving on to diagonal crunches. Diagonal crunches, we're just using body weight. I would like you to lay down on your back, and we're going to place our arms behind our head. So for our elbow positionings, please have your elbow right within your peripheral vision. We are going to exhale and bring our right armpit towards our left thigh, and then lower down, and then move the left armpit towards the right thigh. So with this move here, it is working the rectus abdominis, but with the element of adding slight rotation, we're tapping into our obliques. And this twisting motion that we're performing through our core with this diagonal crunch, it's mimicking everyday activities, such as turning when we're walking or reaching for different objects across our body. And this can really make daily tasks easier. We're exhaling as we rotate up. And notice how we're keeping our upper body in this fixed position. And we're really just rotating through the torso, through that thoracic spine. With this move, we're increasing spinal flexibility. And we're really helping with our range of motion. And as we alternate from side to side, this is a great way to enhance our rotational mobility. We'll do one more each side. At this time, we're going to come back up and we're moving on to a kneeling side plank, and we're going to be on our right side. For this kneeling side plank variation, we are going to have our top leg straight. So our right arm is down and our right knee is down and our arm is up to the ceiling. We're adding rotation. I want you to exhale as you rotate and look down at your mat. And then when you de-rotate, please look straight forward. Again, we're exhaling as we go into rotation and then de-rotate. Now, if you want to make this more challenging, feel free to straighten your bottom leg. Otherwise, please stay with your knee down. With this exercise, you are feeling a lot more pressure in your shoulder because of the rotation. And you're feeling your bottom oblique fire more. Two more repetitions. Nice work. Now we're going to go on to our left side. Let's all start with our knee down. So we have our left shoulder down, right arm is up, lift up. As we rotate, we're going to look down to the mat, exhale, and then de-rotate, look forward. Again, exhale as you go under. Inhale as you de-rotate, look forward. If you want to straighten your leg, go ahead and do so now, and let's begin again. This exercise is really nice because it's working in rotation, which is so important if you play any recreational sports, such as pickleball or tennis. Even basketball requires a lot of rotation when you're changing directions and turning while jogging. One more here. Excellent. For our final strength move before we stretch, we're going to move into Cobra back extension. So I invite you to join me, and I need you down in the prone position. So we're down on our stomachs. I want to show you two options. Our toes are pointed, and you're going to start with your nose just hovered right above the mat. Option one is to press through your forearms and just stop at baby cobra. This is going to be best for my clients with wrist limitations. Otherwise, if you want to press up higher, as long as you're keeping your hips down, you may press up higher through the arms and look skyward. Now slowly lower back down. So again, maybe you're doing baby cobra or full cobra. When you're ready, exhale as you press up. Look at the wall in front of you or skyward if that's available to you. And then slowly lower back down with an inhalation. It's very important that you keep the top part of your feet down as you execute cobra. If your feet are trying to pop up, that is a sign that you are over-activating your gluteal muscles. And we would like to keep our feet down so that we can feel this work in our low back. I'm trying to target your erector spinae. With that being said, this is also very challenging to our upper body. You will feel work in your shoulders, as well as the back of the arms, the triceps. This is a beautiful move for our neck, as it really allows us to work through and focus on neck extension. This gentle extension encourages spinal alignment from the lower back to the neck, and it promotes better posture, and it can reduce strain on the neck and the spine. We're also stretching the front of the body and opening up the chest. And this stimulates abdominal organs, and it can help with aiding digestion and reducing stress and fatigue. Cobra back extension also has a calming effect on the mind, and it can help relieve stress and tension that we hold in our body. One more repetition, exhaling as we press up. Inhale to lower back down with control. At this time, we're going to do one more water break, and then we're going to be back for a stretch. We're going to lie down on our back, and we're moving into trunk rotations. Our palms are up and our arms are in a T position or perhaps a little bit lower. Option one is to keep your feet down, and you're going to shift your hips and knees to one side, return to neutral, and then gently drop to the other. And as you do this move, keep your knees and feet stacked. This helps us target our low back. Option two, if you're ready for more, we're going to manually tuck our knees in towards our chest and then gently drop your knees and hips to one side. You're feeling the work as you move up through center, working through the obliques, and then gently down to the other. And this is also targeting a deep, deep muscle called your QL muscle. And we use this muscle when we rotate or laterally flex and bend. This is a beautiful, mobilizing, dynamic stretch to bring blood flow and circulation to the low back, and it can really help with healing. Continue to move from side to side at your own pace here. And your goal with your upper body is to keep your shoulders down. And that ensures that we're stabilizing our upper middle back and we're mobilizing our lumbar spine. So as I move my knees to the left, my right shoulder needs to stay down. And as I move my knees to my right, my left shoulder must stay down. Now we're going to bring our knees just back towards our chest, but let's apply some gentle overpressure here. Relax through the feet, and we're doing double knees to chest stretch. And just rock from side to side, nice and gently. Now let's just keep our right knee into our chest, fully lengthen your left leg down onto the mat. Place your right palm down in a T position and look at your right hand. And now gently pull your right knee across the body. This is called spinal twist, and it's stretching your glute muscle and your QL muscle, which is that deep abdominal muscle. It's so deep that it's commonly referred to as a back muscle. And now let's release that leg and pull your left knee into your chest. Place your left palm down, look at your left hand, and now gently pull your leg across the body. So we're creating an opposing stretch as we pull our leg across and we look in the opposite direction. gently release your leg and return to neutral. At this time, I would like you to join me in staff pose. So for staff pose, we're going to sit up nice and tall. Now, if you're limited with your hamstring flexibility, and if you feel that your back is rounding forward, you may want to sit up on top of a yoga block. And if that feels better, like, that's where you'll want to be. Otherwise, if you have great hamstring flexibility, just sit down on your mat. We are going to inhale our right arm up, and I want you to move into lateral flexion. So imagine that you're dumping water out of your left ear. Breathe deeply. And now we'll return to the start position and then bring your left arm up and go ahead and imagine you're dumping water out of your right ear. And we're just thinking of opening up and fanning that rib cage. Breathe deeply. And return to neutral. Now, I would like you to come to the all fours position, just as we were at the start of class. And I want you to widen your knees. Now at this point, you may want to use a yoga block. We're moving into extended child's pose. And for some of you, you might feel that it's more comfortable on your knees and your hips to have a yoga block to sit on. And you may also use a yoga block underneath your forehead. Otherwise, if you don't need any tools, you're still widening those knees, the big toes come together, and then you're just moving your hips back. And this is a beautiful stretch for your low back and your hips and even your shoulders. We're working shoulder flexion, and your forehead does not have to touch the mat or the block, but it may. And just breathe deeply in this position. Slowly bring your hands underneath your shoulders and go ahead and sit up. I'm Tiffany with New Perspective Fitness, and thank you so much for joining me today for this core workout, and I'll catch you next time.